5 pages away from finish the book and chill, and they give you this look. Oh, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. I just gotta... Hey everybody, welcome back to Tanner's Books and Beyond. Today, we're doing the Netflix book tag. Now, I was tagged to do this by Brandee from I Ramble Randomly, and this is also the first tag challenge that I've actually been tagged by someone else to do, instead of just doing it of my own accord, so that's pretty cool. Also, Netflix is the bomb. I love going on Netflix, and I'm actually kind of bummed out right now because I've been watching so many shows on my television that I haven't had time to watch Netflix shows, and I don't know what it says about me that I'm too busy watching TV to watch TV. But never mind all that, because this tag is about books. There's 12 questions in the tag, and so let's get started. Question 1, recently watched. What is the last book that you finished? The last book I finished was Huntress by Melinda Lowe, and I really enjoyed it. I went into more detail in my March wrap-up video, so you can check that out if you want to know more about this book, but it is a pretty good book. Unfortunately, I finished this like 2.5 weeks ago. I'm still working my way through Pile of Bones. I'm really hoping I can finish at some point this week. Question 2, top picks. What is a book or book series that have been recommended to you based on books you have previously read? Well, you may have noticed that I really like fantasy series and series with heavy mythology influences, and I also really like books with young adult protagonists or child protagonists. So, one series that keeps on coming up in my recommendations is the Percy Jackson series, and I'm not sure why I didn't read them when they first came out, because it seems like something I would read, but I guess it just didn't interest me at the time. But over time, I keep on hearing more and more good things about them, and they keep on rising up in my to-read list. Question 3, recently added. What was the last book that you bought? The latest book that I bought, I actually got from the grocery store where I work. I just saw it sitting on our bookshelves, and I thought it looked kind of interesting. It's called The Cinderella Murder by Mary Higgins Clark and Alifair Burke. And it turned out to be really topical and very fitting for this tag as well, because I guess it's a sequel. It's second in a series, and we did not have the first in the series, but I'm sure this is pretty self-contained. And what it is it's a woman who's running a true crime show, and they're working on like their second season. And in their first season, the crime they were investigating, where they like recreated the scene and they tracked down old witnesses and the people involved and interviewed them. And through doing all this, they actually ended up catching the person who had committed the crime in the first place. And so now they're on their second season and they're trying to do the same thing. And you know, it's very fitting because of all this Making a Murderer hubbub going around. And I'm not really interested in actually watching Making a Murderer, but the fact that people make shows like that itself, I find really interesting. And so it'd be cool to like start going behind the scenes and get into the heads of the people who are doing that. Question 4, popular on Netflix, books that everyone has heard of. 2 that you're interested in, and 2 that you're So I'm pretty sure there's not a contemporary book reader around right now who hasn't heard of the Maze Runner series by James Dashner. Honestly, it doesn't hook me, and I thought maybe if I watched the movie, then that would get me interested in. Plus, Dylan, in the words of Skelly Dunn, Dylan O'Brien got me Dylan O'Crian. But I couldn't make it 10 minutes into the first movie. It just felt so disjointed and nonsensical, and if the movie dropped me that quickly, I can't imagine the books will be able to hold me either. That being said, there is one young adult series that I am really keen on reading, and it's The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. It's got like Cinder and Cress, and I think there's a Winter and a Scarlet in there somewhere, and those I'm really interested in because they play directly into my love of fairy tales with a twist and fantasy with a twist, and I know a lot of people think that just doing that, just taking a fairy tale or a classic story and putting it in a different genre is kind of taking an easy way out, but I love it. I mean, I love Once Upon a Time, and I love Ruby, so I feel like even if these aren't the greatest books in the world, I'll definitely appreciate the Lunar Chronicles just because they're doing exactly the kind of thing that I love to see in fairy tale reworkings and fairy tale literature. Question 5. Comedies. What's a funny book? Look what my mom found! Yep, my mom heard me groaning about how I couldn't find this, and she was able to locate it in like 2 minutes. And I've talked about this book previously in my fairy tale tag, and for those of you who don't want to go back and watch it, this is just like, your basic fairy tale book, and it's got all the classics, it's got like Chicken Licken, and The Really Ugly Duckling, and who can forget this classic, The Princess and the Bowling Ball. Question 6, dramas. Which is a character from a book who is either a drama king or a drama queen. I'm using To the Nines to represent the entirety of the Stephanie Plum franchise by Janet Ivanovich, and, okay, Stephanie, girl, I love you, and You are a great bounty hunter, and I know that a lot of the drama in your life comes from that career choice, but girl, you are such a drama queen, and you are such a hot mess. Question 7, animated. What is a book with cartoons on the cover? I'm pretty sure that comics and graphic novels don't really count towards this question. They kind of have cartoons on the cover by default. But I was actually surprised that I don't have a lot of books that have cartoons on the cover. I feel like that would be something I'd be drawn to when looking for novels. I do have one book that has cartoons on the cover, and it's Zeus Grants Stupid Wishes by Corey O'Brien. Unfortunately, I can't show you this cover because I was just looking at it a few seconds ago, and I realized that it's not exactly safe for work. But rest assured, if you know anything about the real classical Greek mythology, with all of the sleeping around and perversion that was going around on Mount Olympus, then you can probably guess on some of the stuff that's going on this cover. Question 8, watch it again. What is a book or series that you would like to reread? Oh my god, I so want to reread the Animorphs books, like all of them. I love every single one of them, even the ghost-written stuff in the middle with the filler and the time travel and the alternate universes and the dream sequence episodes and the oatmeal. I just need to find the physical copies and I'll have my own separate Animorphs shelf on my bookshelf, and it would just be the most awesome thing I could ever do. Question 9, documentaries. What is a non-fiction book that you would recommend to anyone? I mentioned this before, but I really don't read a lot of non-fiction just because it's too real. I like made-up stuff better because it hooks me a lot easier. But there was one non-fiction book that I absolutely adored. In fact, I sought it out when I found out it was coming out. It was American on Purpose, which is Craig Ferguson's autobiography. And if you've ever seen him do his stand-up or do any of his stuff on The Late Late Show when he was on it, it basically reads exactly like that. Question 10. Action adventure. What is an action-packed book? For this, I can't just recommend one book. I'm gonna have to recommend any book that's in the Gone series by Michael Grant. They are so exciting, and there's always stuff attacking the kids, and they're always having to rally to defend themselves to the point where it keeps bringing you along, and I don't think I ever spent longer than a day reading any of the books in this series because they are that exciting. Question 11, new releases. A book that has recently come out or will be coming out soon that you are excited to read. Oh man, I don't know if I can really answer this question. I don't pay attention to the new releases. I just kind of peruse the shelves and see what's coming out next. I guess the only new release that I know about and that I'm looking forward to would be Phonogram The Immaterial Girl by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. It's not a novel. It's actually not really a graphic novel either. It's a trade paperback collection of the 6 issues making up the Phonogram Immaterial Girl miniseries. And I already have the first 2 Phonogram miniseries, and I really enjoyed the Immaterial Girl series as I was reading the individual issues. So it would be really nice to get that trade paperback and just have a complete collection that I can display on my bookshelf. Question 12, Max, and that is simply tag some people. But for this one, I'm not going to tag anybody specific. I'm just going to open this up to the masses. If you see this video and you got a real hankering and a real passion for Netflix-related questions, then you go for it. You just do you. That about wraps it up for this video. Hope you guys liked it. If you like my bookish style, you can feel free to like, subscribe, and check out my previous work. Coming up later this week, we're going to have more comic reviews, of course, which I might actually be able to get out on Wednesday instead of postponing them until Saturday. I also might do a small video on Pile of Bones and just the general idea of having a book or a story set in your hometown and how cool that can be. Also, I'm working on creating my own original booktube tag. It's not exactly book-related, but then again, neither is Netflix. I mean, Netflix is kind of the anti-books when it comes to entertainment. But I think it'd be a really interesting tag. There's nothing like it out there so far, and it is inspired by something very close to my heart that, I may have sang the theme song for in a previous video. So I will keep you guys updated on that, and obviously if I decide to go through with it, you will see the video up here. But until then, I'm going to see you guys later.